They were not celebrities. They were not supermen. They were American boys shaped by hardship long before the war ever reached them. The Great Depression had taught them restraint, perseverance, and humility. Many learned responsibility early, helping their families survive uncertain times. When the nation called, these same young men stepped forward, not because they sought adventure, but because duty had already been woven into who they were. Leaving home meant leaving certainty behind. They boarded trains and ships with little fanfare, often saying goodbye without knowing if they would ever return. Training camps turned civilians into aviators, teaching discipline under pressure and trust in one another. Every drill, every lecture, every flight prepared them for a reality few could truly imagine. Still, they believed in the mission, and more importantly, they believed in each other. When they climbed into their aircraft each morning, the ritual was quiet and deliberate. Equipment checks were performed with methodical care. Oxygen masks were tested. Maps were folded and refolded. There was no room for error. In those moments before takeoff, the noise of the world faded, replaced by focus. They knew that what awaited them over Europe would test every skill they possessed. These pilots trusted machines built by a nation that understood the cost of failure. American engineering was never about appearances alone. It was about results. Designers prioritized range, durability, and ease of maintenance. Every component of the aircraft had to serve a purpose. The P-51 Mustang emerged from this philosophy. A fighter born from necessity, refined through experience, and perfected through relentless improvement. The Mustang was not an accident of genius. It was the product of listening to pilots, analyzing losses, and adapting quickly. Engineers studied performance data from combat zones. They modified fuel systems, improved aerodynamics, and strengthened critical components. This constant feedback loop allowed American aircraft to evolve faster than the enemy could respond. Before the Mustang, bomber crews faced terrifying odds. They flew deep into hostile territory with limited protection, relying on tight formations and courage alone. German fighters exploited these vulnerabilities, attacking relentlessly. Entire crews were lost in minutes. The psychological toll was immense, yet missions continued because stopping them would have meant surrendering the initiative. The arrival of long-range escort fighters changed everything. The Mustang could fly alongside bombers from takeoff to target and back again. This endurance meant bombers were no longer exposed during the most dangerous portions of their missions. For the first time, American air crews felt that the skies were contested on equal terms. American pilots adopted disciplined tactics. They resisted the temptation to chase individual kills, focusing instead on protecting bombers and maintaining formation integrity. Victory was measured not by enemy aircraft destroyed, but by friendly crews returning home. This mindset reflected a broader American approach to war. Success through coordination, not chaos. German pilots quickly sensed the shift. Familiar patterns vanished. Escorts no longer turned back. The enemy stayed, pressed the attack, and controlled the engagement. Luftwaffe pilots faced exhaustion as missions became longer and more dangerous. The advantage they once held eroded day by day. Fuel shortages compounded the problem. Allied bombing campaigns targeted refineries and transportation networks, limiting Germany's ability to sustain operations. Training programs suffered. Experienced pilots were lost, replaced by underprepared recruits. Meanwhile, American training pipelines expanded, producing skilled aviators faster than losses could deplete them. The Mustang's presence extended beyond combat. It forced strategic decisions. German commanders diverted resources to air defense, weakening ground operations. Factories relocated or shut down. Production slowed. Each escorted bombing mission compounded the pressure, tightening the vice around the enemy's war machine. American pilots understood their role in this larger strategy. They were not just fighters. They were guardians of an entire campaign. Their success enabled ground advances, disrupted supply lines, and accelerated liberation efforts across Europe. Every flight contributed to momentum that could not be reversed. The human cost remained heavy. Pilots faced flak bursts that shook aircraft violently. Weather conditions turned missions deadly without enemy involvement. Mechanical failures claimed lives. Yet training emphasized calm responses, problem-solving under stress, and trust in procedures. These skills saved countless crews. Back home, families followed the war through newspapers and radio broadcasts. They clipped articles, saved letters, and waited anxiously. The connection between home and front remained strong. Every aircraft produced represented collective sacrifice. Workers, engineers, farmers, and families all contributing to a shared goal. As Allied forces advanced, air superiority became absolute. Enemy movement was exposed, columns were disrupted, reinforcements failed to arrive. The Mustang's role in securing this dominance became undeniable. It was not merely a weapon, but an enabler of victory across every front. After the war, historians examined the air campaign with clarity. They identified the Mustang as a turning point. Not because it won the war alone, but because it allowed American strategy to function fully. It ensured that pressure could be sustained without unacceptable losses. Veterans rarely spoke of heroism. They remembered routine, fear, and responsibility. They remembered cold cockpits and long hours. They remembered friends who did not return. Their stories reflected humility rather than triumph, yet their impact was immense. The Mustang's legacy endured beyond the war. It influenced aircraft design, doctrine, and training for decades. More importantly, it symbolized what happens when a free society mobilizes its talent, industry, and values toward a common purpose. Victory in Europe was not sudden. It was earned incrementally through consistency and resolve. Each mission built upon the last. Each success reinforced confidence. Eventually, the outcome became inevitable. The skies over Europe changed ownership not through fear, but through persistence. Through preparation, through men who showed up every day and did their job without complaint. That is where American strength revealed itself most clearly. The P-51 Mustang remains a testament to that era, not as an icon of destruction, but as proof that discipline, ingenuity, and unity can shape history. It stands as a reminder that ordinary citizens, given responsibility and trust, are capable of extraordinary things. And that is why this story endures. Because it is not only about an aircraft, it is about a nation, a generation, and the quiet courage that carried the weight of freedom until the war was finally won.